Smarties, welcome back. Let the learning begin. Alright, so I got to meet with my students again on Zoom today, and that was super happy. And so I got to start out in the green zone. But then after we were finished, what I realized is I'm not going to get to see them again until next Tuesday, which kind of moved me over a little into the blue zone, kind of sad. So why I'm telling you is because sometimes you can be in one zone and you kind of move over to another zone. So I'm going to do Spider-Man breathing. So I get my hands, look at the spider webs. It looks like two I love yous or airplanes, sign language. And I'm going to do this. So I'm going to inhale when I pull my web slingers in, and exhale as I push them out. And inhale, and exhale. That's a good mindful strategy to flood my body with oxygen and settle me down a little bit. But it didn't actually move me kind of out of the blue zone, because sometimes we just stay in a place because we're there. I have a little friend here. This is Shrink. And Shrink is one of these awesome little buddies that you can just rub his tummy and his back. And this is also very mindful. Growth mindful and relaxing. And I can tell Shrink I feel sad that I'm not going to get to see my Smarties till next week. And Shrink just listens. Shrink is like the rabbit. The rabbit just listened and stayed. And Shrink just listens and stays. He says, who needs someone to listen? I will. So, those are just strategies that you can use, because sometimes there aren't big reasons why you move from one zone to another. Sometimes it's just normal, natural, everyday life, and you're in one place and then suddenly you're in another place. It's almost like a cloud kind of comes over, and there's sun over here and rain over there, but you're just sitting a little bit under a cloud. And unless you're Olaf with your own private flurry, sometimes a cloud just casts a little bit of shadow or shade. That's nice if it's really hot, but some days it's just kind of blue, and that's okay too. It's okay too. I'm regulated and ready to learn, but I feel a little bit in the blue zone today. So let's move on to our portable calendar. All right, yesterday was not Tuesday. Yesterday was Wednesday, so I'm going to eliminate the information that I do not need, and I'm going to transfer the information up. Now remember, I want you to make sure that you have your handy dandy composition book or notebook, and you're putting this information into it, because if you do it every single day, everything that we repeat over and over and over will eventually live in automaticity. So if you're in transitional kindergarten and you're going to kindergarten in the fall, this is information you'll be able to write independently. If you're in kindergarten and you're going to first grade, or first grade and you're going to second grade, this is all information you very readily and easily will be able to access in your own schema, drop onto a piece of paper. And once you build a schematic for putting this kind of information in your smart brain, it sets up a framework for other information as well. So it's kind of like you lay down some track, and that track doesn't just go to one place, it goes to a whole bunch of stations. So that's kind of exciting. So we're going to move Wednesday up, but I'm going to rely on my schema first. And I remember when we were talking about Wednesday, I said it was super important to enunciate, and most people don't pronounce Wednesday correctly. We say Wednesday, when really it's Wednesday. So we sing-songy chant it by the syllables so we can remember how to spell it, and then we have to take a picture, make a tape, put it into an automatically retrievable space. Otherwise, if we rely on sounding it out, we aren't going to hear, phonetically, we're not going to hear the syllables. We're not going to hear the phonemes in the syllables, the sounds in all of the syllables, because we don't necessarily pronounce it correctly. So, I need a face space. Ace, grace, chase. This is mace. Let's have it be mace. Yesterday was capital W-E-D-N-E-S-D-A-Y. I'm going to put a period at the end, and I check it. Capital W-E-D-N-E-S-D-A-Y. Nicely done. Now I'm going to rely on my smart cards, and I'm going to move yesterday, which was Wednesday, and slide it over to today. We're going one day down on our smart chart. I should say T. What are you? I know it should be TH. So my smart cards are out of order. Good thing that I was being very mindful. Otherwise, I would have written Tuesday. Let's try this card. TH. And I know that there is only one other card with a T on it, and it's Tuesday, TU, not TH. Because I remembered the digraph TH for thumb, I knew that I had to eliminate this. Otherwise, I would have written the wrong information. THURSDAY. Phew. Good to be smart. Never apologize for being the smartest one in the room. It's true of Spider-Man. True of us too. All right. Capital THURSDAY. And I put a period at the end because it's just a telling sentence. Declarative. Now, if yesterday was Wednesday, today is Thursday, then tomorrow is going to be Friday. Not fry like sizzle, but fry, F-R-I. Tomorrow will be capital F-R-I-D-A-Y. And I put a period. Yesterday was Wednesday, it's in the past. Today is Thursday, it's in the present. Tomorrow will be Friday, it's in the future. So today is, and I need to eliminate Wednesday, but by Wednesday it's still April, not the 15th. That would have normally been tax day, but now tax day has been moved to July. This is going to be such a confusing year. 2020, we're not going to have perfect vision, we're going to have confused vision, the vision of this year. Let's try and resume a normal life. Now we're in new normal. And our next new normal isn't even going to be like our old new normal, I'm sure. Maybe that's not all bad. Today is Thursday, capital T-H-U-R-S-D-A-Y, comma, April. If yesterday was the 15th and it ended in a 5, I need to move 1 up on a number line. 5 turns into a 6 and the 1 stays the same. I put a 1 in the tens place. I put a 6 in the ones place. 16. Today is Thursday, April 16th, 2020. I'm going to move my string of numbers. My numeral string. Bye-bye, numeral string. And today, I think I'm just going to write that I feel a little blue. I feel sad. A little sad. It's not really sad. It's kind of like a mix of lonely and sad. Slonely? Monad? No. People make up words all the time. Let's see. Today is a blue day. That works. Today I already have capital T-O-D-A-Y. Face is same as up here. My clip is right over the dot of my eye. Today is and remember, I say in my class, so I can differentiate between whether my students know this as a letter or this as a word. When it's a letter, we say A, and when it's a word, we say like going around. This is a blue. B-O-O. I hear 3 sounds, so I know there's going to be at least 3 letters. B-L-U-E, 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 that spells blue. And I know the chunk of day. And then I think I'm just going to do like this. And then I'm going to be thinking about my students. And thinking that I get to see them again on Tuesday. So this is a thinking bubble. So I'm kind of missing them a little bit. Today is a blue day. Oh, look, I forgot a stopping mark. I'm not saying a strong feeling. I'm not asking a question. I'm not asking if it's a blue day. I'm telling you it is. today is a blue day. Now, I have a message here, but it could be that everyone is happy and I don't feel that way. So my illustration is not really strong in supporting my meaning, so it was really important that I added the words. Sometimes as an illustrator, you can totally communicate everything that you're thinking and feeling just in a picture. But to ensure that your reader totally understands what you meant to convey, your words reinforce the meaning. So picture carries a message, and the words carry the meaning. That's why there can be books with no pictures, and they're completely full of meaning. Because as we spend a lot of time in picture books and in life, we build pictures in our head of all of our life events and our feelings. And when we read chapter books that just have the words, or we read articles that just have the words, what happens is we can picture it in our mind's eye, like a television screen or like a movie theater screen on the back of our eyelids. And we can imagine what the author was conveying just by the images we make in our own mind. Now, they might seem totally different. Sometimes you see a book that's brought to life on the screen, and you think, is not how I saw that character. Sometimes when you see a book come to life on a screen, it kind of ruins the experience for you. And sometimes when you see it, you're like, oh, this is so cool. It's exactly how I saw it. When I was young, there was a movie called a book called Anne of Green Gables, and I read the series, and the BBC made the first, well, not the first one, but the one that they cast Anne. She was exactly like what I thought. Megan Fellows looked just like Anne of Green Gables. All the characters looked like they just literally came off the pages of the book. But I've seen other books that didn't resonate quite so well. All right, so remember, if you aren't finished putting this into your composition book or your notebook, just pause, make sure you get it all in, and then you can go on. So today, we're going to get on the bus. Honk, honk, beep, beep. We're always moving forward because I'm right-handed. I guess you'd be moving backwards. It wasn't? I guess no, backwards. We're always going forward, but we're heading in that direction always. Learning field trip. Climb on the bus. We're going to build up our schema. Ready for a little brain snack? Just a tiny little nibble. Oh, schema snack, brain bite. All right, so today what we're doing is taking a look at patterning. What is patterning, you ask? I'm so glad that you asked that because I happen to have an answer right here on my handy-dandy whiteboard. So welcome to my hallway classroom. Patterning is the reliable repetition of some locked or fixed standardized unit. Now, I simplified that standardized unit here, and I just used letters A and B. So my fixed unit, or my pattern unit, is A, then B. And what I'm going to repeat is exactly what you see here in front of the dotted lines. It won't be a pattern if I add a C to the next strand. So look, AB, AB. And if I added another one to this strand, it would have to be AB. And if I added another one to this strand, it would have to be AB. To infinity and beyond. Otherwise, my pattern unit is broken and it's not a pattern. You have to have a fixed or locked unit, and we call that the pattern unit. That's a simple way to understand whatever it is that is stated or said, or it happens, like in science, whatever happens, and the whole cycle of that, when it stops and then starts over, it has to go in exactly the same order that it did the first time. Otherwise, it isn't a pattern, it's just a phenomenon. Some phenomenon or phenomena will repeat itself in a pattern, but all phenomena doesn't. Okay, so let's look here. So what I did is I identified these as symbols. Now, symbols can be letters or numbers or pictures. We use symbols in math and in ELA and in science. They represent all kinds of things. And so here we're looking at the symbols. And what you see is AB, just like this. And it would have to repeat itself. A, B, and again. A, B. These ellipses mean on and 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 on. That's the fancy name for these three little dots, the dot, dot, dot. They just keep going and going and going. But they can never break this unit. Otherwise, it's no longer a pattern. We say, you broke the pattern, or the pattern is broken. Let's look at the next one. Now, this had two items, two pieces in its pattern. This has the same first two pieces, but it adds one more. So now there are three items in our pattern unit, but it is still a pattern unit. It's an ABC, then we have to repeat with the first one, A. The second thing we see is B, and the third thing we see is C. And we want to be very careful that we don't add anything new, and we don't change the order. Sometimes when children are writing patterns, they mirror them. So they'll write ABC, and then they'll write CBA. Now, unless that six object strand is my pattern unit, I will have broken my unit, and I don't want to do that. So I have to come back here, ABC, ABC, and I'm going to repeat it again. A, B, C, there's the ellipses, to infinity and beyond, it just goes on and on. Now this is a different kind of symbol. It isn't using letters, it's using pictures. So here's a flower and a fish and a house and an apple. How many things are in that pattern unit? Flower and a fish and a house and an apple. There are 4 things in there. And I can't change the order. A flower and a fish and a house and an apple. Now, even though I don't have the lines, if I were going to continue this and remove my ellipses, what would come next? A flower, then a fish, then a house, then an apple. And then I could add the ellipses, or I could just leave it alone. Now look at the next one. This is a totally different type of symbol. There's the slash, then there's the minus, or the equal sign. The minus over minus is an equal sign. Slash equals equals, slash equals equals, and that's forward slash. Backward slash comes this way. So we would use this if we were doing a search on the internet to try and find some information. Sometimes the web address where information lives uses forward slash and backward slash. So that's probably where you might have seen this symbol. And the equals, you've probably seen it in math. So let's try this. Now this is a little bit tricky. Are there 2 things in my pattern unit, or are there 3? There's actually 2 and 3. There are only 2 things that I'm using, 2 symbols, but because one of the symbols repeats itself, it acts almost like a third component. So yes, the answer is yes. 2 symbols, but because they're written 3 times, 2 of those symbols, even though they're the same, they represent a different unit of information. I can't only do this once, I have to do it twice. I can't do this and this, and then go back to this, or I'll have broken my unit. So, forward slash equals equals. These are the same, but they're repeated twice, so I have to include both of them. Forward slash equals equals. Now look at the next one. These are shapes. So these symbols are shapes. And if you look carefully, one of the shapes repeats itself, but not directly next to itself, which makes it look like the pattern is broken, except this is the pattern unit. So it's a square, heart, circle, heart. So while there are 4 different items in my pattern unit, there are only 3 objects. So I have to remember the order. And 4 is a very big number to hold when I'm thinking about the different shapes. Square, heart, circle, heart. So I could say square, heart, circle, heart, I could add some motions with it. Square, heart, circle, heart. And I have to repeat it. Square, heart, that's where my heart lives. Doesn't look like this. Circle like my head. Heart. A square is almost like my torso or my body. So I could do square, heart, circle, heart. Square, heart, circle, heart. That's called a mnemonic. It helps me to remember it. So if I saw this and then was working across my page, I could just sing-songy say it and touch my body near the motions that I made to remember it, so that I could easily transfer it onto my whiteboard or onto paper. So since I did motions with that, I want to show you that some patterns are not recorded on paper or on a whiteboard. Some patterns are actually recorded just in the air. They're auditory patterns. So listen, this one shows the hands and they're clapping, hands and they're clapping, and legs and they're slapping. So this pattern is clap, clap, slap, and I have to repeat my unit. Clap, clap, slap, and I have to repeat my unit. Clap, clap, slap. We use this in math, but we would also use it in music. So we're hearing the rhythm and the rhyme, and we're keeping time with the music. Now this one is a motion, but it's not requiring any sound. You could, I guess, but it's doing this. Smile. Now remember, smile has teeth. Grin, no teeth. Smile, teeth. So it's smile, smile, cry, cry, smile, smile, cry, cry. And how I could show that the smiles are different, because look, I could either drop my face or I could do this. Smile, smile, cry, cry, smile, smile, cry, cry. Now watch with no sound. And it kind of gives you a rhythmic motion. The reason you do it with no sound is because it's teaching your brain how to hold the information inside, holding it abstractly by connecting some physical motion to it and thinking about what it is that you're doing. You learn how to teach your brain how to code the information even symbolically. Now you could also use sounds. Here I have a picture of a doggy and he is barking. And here I have a picture of a kitty and the kitty would meow. And here's another picture of a kitty. So I could do this. Ruff. And I'm also putting physical motions with it, but I could just do ruff, meow, meow, ruff, meow, meow, ruff, meow, meow. I could also do just making silly sounds with the back of my throat, my teeth, and my voice. So listen. So I'm making a click and a whistle, and a click and a whistle. Science has a lot of patterns, so we have to understand very basic patterns first, because later there's going to be implications in math and in science. So the sooner we get mathematical patterning understood here, when we make it with our body sing-songy, we see it in music, when we hear it in the world around us, our day at school or at home is a pattern, the schedule that we keep is a pattern. We can start overlaying those simple patterns on more complex patterns, because the brain is pattern seeking always. So by teaching our brain how to code patterns at a basic level, we teach our brain how to look for patterns at a much more complex level. So here's the seasons. The year starts out with winter, and I put some snowflakes to show winter. Then we move into the season of spring, when flowers are growing, so the flowers grow. Then we move into summer, and it usually gets hotter, and I used a sun. Then it moves into fall, and the trees lose all their leaves. and then it goes right back to winter. So winter, and then spring, and then summer, and then fall. Now I have a little poem that I made up for that. You fall into winter, and winter leads into spring. You spring into summer, and summer leads into fall. And that's all. I did it so you could repeat it. So listen again. You fall into winter, and winter leads into spring. You spring into summer, and summer leads into fall. And that's all. And then it does it again and again and again. It's a cycle. Another cycle is a life cycle. Now, this is the life cycle of a butterfly. And when you look at informational text, sometimes informational text puts pupa in as its own piece of the cycle. Sometimes it combines it with the chrysalis. So, some people define pupa and chrysalis synonymously. That means they mean it's the same cycle, and some people don't. So it starts with the larva. It's an egg. It's an egg. Then it becomes larva. Then it becomes a caterpillar. Then it becomes a pupa. Then it becomes a chrysalis. Then it becomes a butterfly. Or simple, it could be egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. Egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. Egg, caterpillar, chrysalis, butterfly. Now the days of the week are a pattern. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday follows them. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the week comes to an end. That's start, an end. We start over. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday follows them. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, the week comes to an end. And it's always in the same order. Same with the months of the year. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and we start again. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. I know right now it feels like every day is the same day. It's just day. Light part of the day, dark part of the day. And every month feels the same. Month. Same month. Pandemic month. Pandemic month goes to pandemic month goes to pandemic month. But pretty soon we'll be out of this cycle and we'll be back to a more normal cycle, and the months will change and feel like they're changing, and the days will change and feel like they're changing. So hang in there. It's coming to an end soon. Numbers are also a pattern. And when we look at number lines or strings of numbers that are in numerical order, what we see is that they pattern up in ascending order. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They use all of the numerals in ascending order from least to greatest. And each time we jump a decade, the tens place changes and gets larger by 1. So first it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it's a 1 and a 0, 1 and a 1, 1 and a 2, 1 and a 3, 1 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it's a 2 and a 0 and a 2 and a 1 and 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 2, 7, 2, 8, 2, 9. When we count them, we call them 10, 11, 12, or we call them 21, 22, 23. But when we write them, if you look for the pattern, it makes writing the numbers in numerical order much easier. It's much harder to lose that numeracy, that counting order, when you're looking at them as patterns, than if you're just trying to remember from your smart brain, which is in the tens place, which is in ones place, and when do I roll up. That was super fun. Thank you for sharing this great lesson with me. I look forward to sharing other lessons on other videos with you. Until later, Gator. Goodbye, super smarties. Come back ready to learn. I'm going to sit here with Shrink and tell him about how I feel. So if I tell him enough, it will be Friday and maybe I won't feel quite so blue. I like that he's purple because he's not in any zone. One of my students said purple is the weird zone. Okay, I'm going to go be in the weird zone. I don't think he's weird. I think he's perfect. You are perfect. You are just perfect. All right, catch some pride. And here's some love for later. Super teacher and Shrink. Kiss me, Shrink. Out. Bye-bye, Shrink. Say bye. Bye-bye, everybody.